I'm Linda Kemp, and I'd like to show you an alternative approach to painting. Now I'd like to show you how to combine all the projects together to create a painting of wisteria. It's a beautiful vine covered with delicate blossoms. I'll be modifying the shapes in the circle exercise so that they represent the flowers and work in layers of complex leaves. I'll begin with a wet into wet underpainting. Let's get started then. We're going to make a wet into wet underpainting. So I'm just dampening down, brushing water over the back side of the paper. Get it thoroughly saturated. Any little dry areas will cause the paper to buckle. We don't want that. I'll just let this rest while I put out my colors. I'm going to be working with fairly naturalistic color. So I've got some raw sienna, some rose violet, I put out some cobalt blue and some cerulean blue, and a little bit of this wonderful cobalt violet. I'm going to start off with a nice big wide brush stroke using this flat Skyflow brush, some raw sienna, and some cerulean blue, double dipping so I load my brush up and I have some nice gobs of color. And I'm going to just brush it across my paper. Oh, I love those nice strokes of color. They're wonderful. Gobs are great, and blobs are wonderful. I don't mind at all having spatters of color. So if the movement is going to come across like this with the leaves, and then I'll bring another cluster down through here, swinging out across this way. So I'm laying down some color that I'll use to develop my layers of leaves on, and drop in some color for the blossoms. I'm going to use a little bit of the permanent rose or violet rose and some cerulean blue. And I'll actually put the color down for the blossoms and make almost a little stroke. There we go. You can see how beautiful the color goes onto the paper. It's not overmixed. It's something that I feel very strongly about when putting down the color. So often students will mix their color with a lot of water, mixing it down, making a thin puddle, adding a second color to it, and really stirring it together and making up a homogeneous sort of puddle. And this color goes down. Although this is nice and vibrant, you can see how even the color is within it. Or what I'd like to suggest that you do is double dip and not overmix the color. So we're going to take a scoop, oh, not too much water here, a scoop of the rose violet and a scoop of the blue so that we have this kind of combination. And when we put that down, you can see how the colors separate out, making a really beautiful brush stroke. Let's spatter a bit using the same colors. That's a spatter. Let's cut some cerulean into the lower section just to break up this violet shape a bit. There we go. Brush in this blue down here. I think it's pretty, so I'll use it. You'll notice that I haven't done any pre-sketching. I'd like the movement to come across on this sort of an angle with the leaves, and then the blossoms to flow this way. And I will keep my area of interest in this section. That's where I'll build up my layers of the little flowers. All right, let's curve some strokes here. Oh, look at that. That's nice. I like the way that that drags across the paper. As I'm working, I'm actually going to start to carve out a few of the shapes, a few of these negatives with this flat brush. All right, let's establish a few of the leaves in this area as well. When I lighten a color, I prefer to use a color that's already light from the tube rather than putting a lot of water in it, because when we mix a lot of water we end up with more wimpy color, and we want to keep nice vibrant colors here. Let's get some more raw sienna into that, a few brush loads there. That's better. And I'll cut a piece across here too. There we go. Got that strong raw sienna in there. Maybe I better put some over here. 1, 2, and a little bit over here. If I put something somewhere, I want to make sure I put it in at least one other place, possibly 2. That helps me to balance things out. And let's come down with this. I'm adjusting the shapes here, the overall movement of the piece. Let's get some blue in there too. Push that back a bit. There we go. You can see I've already got 1, 2, 3 layers of color down here, and I've cut 2 edges, which is great. If I can do that in a few other places, that'll make me happy. So I'm not painting the leaves and I'm not painting the stems. I'm actually painting around them, working in the negative, carving out my shapes as I go. I'd like to break this up a little bit more. I think the underpainting is the most exciting part of the process, so I want to spend lots of time working away here and cutting these shapes out if I can. And the color can do such wonderful things, far more exciting than I could manipulate them myself. There's a couple of little white leaves popped up there. And here's another one. Let's pull one more through here. Here's the top edge. Let's just pull the bottom edge through there. That's better. Starting to cut away at these shapes. Just put a little dark in there. Okay, I'll bring a branch down across like this with the blossoms, and a branch of blossoms here, and then some leaves coming out this way and leaves building down in that section. Okay, I'm just about done here with this underpainting. I'll sharpen up an edge here. There we go. I'll drop a little bit of violet into this little spot right here. So there's something back here, a little blossom underneath. Put some here as well. It looks like there might be something happening back there. Now that my underpainting is finished, I'm going to remove it and put it on a flat wooden board to dry. That'll speed the drying and stop it from sticking to the plexiglass.